next section, we have a couple of questions here that are more pointed questions that the voters offered towards each candidate. And Mr. Davis, this one is for you. We'll start with you. The Smoky Mountain News reported that your opposition to the Racial Justice Act was highlighted by a campaign flyer that featured Henry McCollum, an African-American man who was serving a sentence for rape and murder. Given that Mr. McCollum has now been freed by DNA evidence and found not guilty, has your opinion on the Racial Justice Act changed?
Absolutely not. I said this was not a failure of the Republican Party. This was not a failure of my campaign. This was a failure of the investigation on this particular murder, you know, and examining the DNA evidence. So how am I supposed to know that? I bet you every one of those people on death row will say I didn't do it. And so I think that we did the thing. The Racial Justice Act, do you know that there are more white people than black people filed for the Racial Justice Act? You know, and what they do with that Racial Justice Act is uses statistics on a non-related case in order to exonerate somebody. Now that's absurd. You know, let's go with that particular case. I think everybody should be tried and convicted or exonerated on the evidence of that particular case, not a broad spectrum of statistics.
Jane, what are your thoughts? That is one of the points that they make, that a lot of statistics are used to draw in to make these defenses which don't involve the individual's case.
Repeat that, please.
Well, I just want to get your thoughts on his response, and that is that there's a lot of analytical data that's used in these defenses for racial justice, which doesn't necessarily come from the individual's case.
Well, I think as far as the Racial Justice Act, I think we need to be careful as to what we do and how we run our cases, and it wasn't fair to put that ad in against Henry McCollum. And I wish the Republicans, I wish all people would take responsibility for the ads that they send out and the ads that go to our people, because they're not fair. But we need to think about the fact that in a room that 25% of the people, if they were black, they would have been 25% of our males of the African American race are at some time accused of a crime, and a lot of times that's racial profiling. And we don't need to be racially profiling people. We need to look after our people. We need to be a country that accepts all of our people. That's not right.
Jim, 1 minute for rebuttal.
I agree that we shouldn't convict somebody based on the color of their skin or the language they speak. But as far as black males being incarcerated, for Pete's sake, 72% of all the black children that are born in this country are born to an unwed mother. You know, 72%. And consequently, you know, when you have a breakdown of the home, these young men don't grow up with a father figure. And so they're more inclined to be a burden on the educational system, the public safety, and the public health. And so that's a real problem. But you know, most black perpetrators, more than 90% of black males, they contribute, or they commit crimes against other blacks. So how is that? You know, that's not a racial profiling, is it? It's that their victims are black, the same color.
And I think you have 1 minute.
As a school counselor and a nurse practitioner, I think that we have a responsibility to children who come to school from a broken home or from an unstable background. You know, 25% of our children in this district are hungry, are at the poverty level. We need to look to take care of people. We need to look for ways that we can take care of them. If they're not getting it at home, we've got that responsibility. We need to teach them to read, we need to feed them, and we need to educate them.
This next